Alright guys, welcome to my cybersecurity course. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to program in Python. And I actually have experience programming in Java, and the syntax in Java is completely different to that of Python. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to teach you guys how to program in Python in depth. So in other words, we're going to learn the basic data types in depth, so when we look at somebody else's code, we can understand it very well, right? Because there's various ways that you can program an integer, right? So there's negative integers, you got the zero integer, you can convert certain types into integers, like strings into like an integer, a float into an integer, etc., etc., right? So you can use these data types in many different ways, and I'm gonna go deep into it. So in this video, I'm actually gonna discuss the integer type, and I'm actually gonna make a video on it alone because it's that deep of a subject. So as you can see here to our left, there's these different basic data types. So let's look at the variables, right? So you see here, there's the string type here, which is just text right here, and then you see the integer type, which is the number right here, right? 80. It can be 100. It can be 1,000. It can be a million. There's a certain range, right? But actually, you know what? I completely forgot. Python, if I'm not mistaken, actually has a longer range of numbers. Like in Java, I believe an integer type goes from like -5, or excuse me, -2 billion to +2 billion. So you can use an integer variable type that's 2,500,000,000, right? Because it's past the memory bound, and that's actually something that you're actually gonna have to Google yourself and learn about. But it's not necessary in Python. In Python, I believe it automatically does that for you. Like you can use 3 billion, you can use 4 billion, right? It's an integer type. That's why in Java as well, I believe it's called the long. I think it's called long, and then the name of the variable, and then you can put 5 billion. So it gives you more memory to work with, right? So here in Python, the syntax is a lot easier as well compared to Java. So I'll give you some examples, right? So if you wanted to program something as simple as hello world in Java, it would be like this, and it's actually a little bit more verbose. So let's see, import java.util.scanner, and what this does is it's a scanner library module. So you need this in order for you to type something on the terminal, right? Or for the program. This is a comment in Java. So this is 2 forward slashes. In Java, it's actually a hashtag or a number symbol. So let's do this. And then to put something on the screen, you have to do this: system.out.print. There's the print, which will print a text on the first line. And then if you did it again, right, if you did system.printout on the bottom, on the bottom of this one, so down here, it would print the text on the same line. So what you want to do is you want to use print line. So it'll print the text on the current line, and it'll just skip on to the next one, right? So hello world. So right, and then the semicolon here is necessary. Every line of code, every variable, everything almost actually needs a semicolon in Java. So, and then to print something out on the screen, you do this: scanner, and then user input new scanner system dot in. And then, like I told you guys, the semicolon. So you would do something like this. Put it right next to a print. Also use system dot print line. Also use system dot out dot print line, and then we're gonna put the user input variable. user input, or you know what? If I'm not mistaken, this is what it is. I believe it's string, and then name, and then we do this user input dots. Is it dot? But anyway, you get my drift, right? So it's a lot harder to do it here. There's a lot more syntax, right, compared to Java, where Python would be a lot easier. So this is a comment in Python, and then we do a simple print line like this, and then I have the habit of using the semicolon, right, because I'm used to using Java. It's 100% not necessary, so you could do this. It'll work like that. But I got the habit in Java, and I'm still gonna stick to it because I've also programmed C++, and you need to do the same thing. So, hello world. So as you can see, a lot less junk, and then we're gonna do name again, and again, you don't have to name the data type string, where you do have to do that in Java. So integer, number, and then you do 100, right? So now you're assigning the integer to number, the variable number 100, right? So you don't have to do that in Python. It'll actually just do it for you. The compiler will know which data type you're using, as long as you correctly guess it, right? So, and then you do this user input, and then we use the brackets, and then we type in what is your name, and then we space. Oh dang it, I hate when that happens. You need to remove that part. Let me click this. I just want to fix something. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, and then we put name, right? So it's as simple as that. Print, and then name, and then again, of course, I got that habit, right? So you see the difference, right? A lot less code to do the same thing. So I would personally recommend people who are new to programming learn Python, again, because it's a powerful language. It essentially does everything Java does. But for some reason, a lot of companies like specific programs for specific tasks, right? And I don't know, they got a reason for it. I don't know. Some people want a project in Java, others want it in in a different language. They all have their ups and downs. Personally, Java is extremely heavy in syntax, so I see why people will want to choose Python over it. And the reason I'm teaching it, because it's actually a programming language that's used a lot by cybersecurity experts. I know so many people have built tools or cybersecurity tools using Python, and the ones that come to my mind are Spiderfoot, Sherlock, the Harvester, and plenty of other tools on GitHub that you can find, right? So Python has a lot of libraries that are very helpful for cybersecurity use, and that's the reason I'm gonna teach you guys how to program in it. So in my future lives or videos, I'll start making tools or cybersecurity tools, right? I'll teach you how to make like a simple scanner. I don't know. I really want to make a program where I could find the direction of a Wi-Fi network, which I think would be cool. Is it possible? Maybe. I'm surprised I haven't seen one. Maybe if I Google one up, I'll know. But yeah. So that's why I recommend Python, and we're gonna jump into various subjects. So obviously here we're looking at the data types, right? Again, we're gonna look through string, integer, the Boolean type, which is either true or false, and then you got your float types. Which I'm surprised that I didn't see it here. I might have to ask for it. So I might have to ask the AI for it, but. And then you see here the string types, You can see here, you do your user input. Again, I just showed you guys earlier a little bit of what that was, right? Host input, enter the target IP address. Port input, enter the port to scan, etc., etc. And then down here, let me see. Well, let me see if I believe I did a better one. Let me see. Data structure. So we see here the list type. So instead of a variable containing one integer or float type, it'll contain multiple variables, right? So you see that's what the list is for here. And then you got the dictionary type, vulnerability, SQL injection, port 80, severity critical, is patched false. And then you got the control flows. And those are very important, right? Those are like the if, else, if else. But in Python, I noticed that they shortened it down. They call it a lif. Instead of it being else and then if, they call it a lif. Again, they're trying to bring the syntax down. And then the for loops and the while loops. So these run as long as the statements inside are true. So like, let's just say you do like a countdown. It'll run 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it'll just end as soon as it's false, right? There's no more numbers to count. So and then we got the file input output. So this will read stuff out of a file. So this is useful when you I don't know, gather subdomains or something, and you want to create a Python program that needs to read these subdomains. Or let's just say you run a program that scans a large target of IPs, right? And then you want to run a scanner against it that you wrote in Python, and you can get this IP address list and just run your personal scanner. And then you got your error handling. That's important too, because you want to see where something goes wrong in a program. So that's interesting. And then modules and packages, of course, you got the import, and then socket, which is the networking side of things, right? This is its own subject, honestly. Python networking. And then you got the object-oriented programming. So in C programming, before you would have to program pretty much like a scroll, right? So everything was in the same page. So you would write code that could be 500 lines long, but it'll be in the same file all the way down, right? So what they started doing is that they invented this object-oriented programming thing. So instead of it all being in one page, you break down whatever you're coding into different pages. So I'll give you an example, like a car, right? Like a car can be broken down by its engine, and then you can code, the variables on the engine type, etc., the type of gas it runs. And you can do the same thing with the wheels, right? Like the dimensions, the tire size, if it's spokes or not, etc. And then you individually program those things in different files, and then you bring it into one and then you run it. That makes things a lot easier, because you can reference things a lot faster instead of having to scroll the whole thing. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like you normally would in C programming. So object-oriented programming is super helpful. And then virtual environments. So this one right here, this isn't Python code, but commands you type to your terminal, which is a critical best practice. This, if I'm not mistaken, I think when you do stuff like this is when you start coding in the command line. Which, I don't know. I mean, let's dive a little bit deeper into this. Let's see what we find. So why is Python 3 better than 2? I'll quickly explain why I brought this up, right? So if you guys don't know, Python has been around since the 1990s. And before, Python 2 was the main Python programming version. And I believe it got phased out a couple years ago. So in other words, the developers aren't updating the programming language. So what they did is that they just made Python version 3, which is a lot better, right? So I'm going to read you a little bit of what that is. Python 3 is better than Python 2 because it has cleaner syntax, better performance, and modern features like Unicode support, improved exception handling, and asynchronous programming capabilities. Since Python 2 is no longer supported, choosing Python 3 is essential for accessing the latest libraries and security updates. Key improvements in Python 3 are syntax and usability. Python 3 has a simpler syntax and more consistent print function instead of a statement, and more readable error handling, etc., etc. Right? So you can see why it's a lot better than the version 2. And the thing that sucks is that there was a lot of cool cybersecurity tools in Python 2 that I can't get to work for some reason, and the developers just gave up on them as well, like on GitHub. So I tried converting the syntax into Python 3, but for some weird reason, it's incompatible when I try to convert it, because there's a program that'll convert Python 2 code into 3, but there's always something that's wrong. Like it's just converting it. It just doesn't make it work on Python 3. It's like kind of like broken. It'll convert the majority of it, I guess, but you still have to fix the buggy parts of the code and convert it into Python 3. So I almost lost. Whoa, so no, wait, hold on. Python. Oh no, yeah, I almost lost track. So what is Python virtual environment used for? A Python virtual environment is used to create isolated environments for Python projects, allowing for independent management of dependencies and versions. Dependency isolation. Different projects often require different versions of the same library. A virtual environment ensures that installing or updating a library for one project does not affect other projects or global Python installation, preventing dependency conflicts. Ooh, that's interesting. So this makes a lot of sense. So, like I was explaining to you, there's different version types. No, sorry about that, guys. Hold on. Got a little message. So there's different version types, right? Even in the libraries that can affect the way a program runs. So I guess what this does is that if you have to code a project or something that needs a specific library version, then you can just do that. You can make it independent to what the current version of, or the newer version of whatever that library is, because that does happen. A lot of these libraries do depreciate, and if you don't know what a library is, I just explained it to you earlier, like that import socket. So that's like a library, that's a module that you're calling for the operating system. That's pretty much your way of telling the operating system, hey, can I get the camera on your computer? Can I get the audio of the computer? Can I get, the file functions of computer? You have to call out some sort of module library, right? So there's different version numbers of that stuff, right? So okay, that makes sense. So let's see applications, the specialization. These examples show how you can use external libraries to specialize cybersecurity and automation. Using the request library to check a website's headers. You see again, look, you see? Import requests. Try response and then .get, and then it's communicating with the website. Headers is a dictionary. So server type response.header server. Print google.com is running, and it's going to tell me the header type. So the headers of a HTTP packet can return anything from like the server version, the HTTP version, and the different kind of security controls that a web page could hold. So I'll give you an example, right? Oh dang, I was trying to HTTP header. Let's see if we can find it. So yeah, this is essentially how they look like this. You can see the date as well. And here's another one. I just want to see a picture, man. You gotta explain all of it. Essentially, this is it, right? HTTP version 200, then the date, etc., etc., right? So that's what the HTTP header is. Again, Python is very versatile. You can use it for a lot of things. And yeah, I think I explained the majority of what I needed to explain. Let's see. Data science and machine learning. This is interesting. Import pandas as PD. Data name, SQL severity, critical name. Load the data into a data frame, a table, print DF. That's interesting. I know. There's an AI library module, so that'll be interesting to use as well. So alright guys, on my next video I'm going to start off by teaching you guys how to use the integer types. I just wanted to give you guys a overall heads up of what the programming in Python is going to look like, what you can expect, and I think my videos will definitely give you a good solid background in programming in Python. And I'm going to teach you guys how to use the integer type first, and I'm going to go deep into it. Again, you see the many ways that you can do it. Look at that. So as you see here, right, the positive type, the variable is showing a positive integer number, and then y is showing a negative integer number, and then 0. And then here on the bottom, it's converting different data types into integer types. So here, it's converting, well, it can't convert an integer to an integer, but it can, I guess. And then here it's a string, right? Because it has double quotes. So it has double quotes there. And then the bottom, it's a float type here with the decimal. And then the booleans, etc., etc. So in my next video, we're going to go through all of this. So when we look at an integer type in anybody's code, we're not confused, right? Because a lot of people just learn how to code with this. This is all they know. To them, this is all an integer. It's this part right here. When in reality, it can be used in many ways, and a lot of people do use it like that. The arithmetic versions, and then here, etc., etc. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, share, like, and all that good stuff. So my next video is going to be explaining what integers are. Alright guys, thank you. Bye.